what do we do? What do we talk about today? Can you guess? Yay! Adi always guesses right. We talk about Matthew, continue talking about Matthew, finishing chapter 16, and actually in this place there is one of the central scriptures of all of our Christian convictions. Can you guess which one is that without looking? 16. Края на 16 глава. Whoever wants to follow me, yes. But first, a few questions as usually. What would you die for? Have you thought about, like, for yourselves? What would you die for? Like, is there something so valuable you would be willing to die for this? Okay. Yeah, I mean, kids, husbands, wives.
Nobody said
Husbands.
Only kids.
Adi said that.
Adi said husband.
Of course. Wives. Something else? Anything else? Would you be willing to die for anything else other than like your close people? No, but
Mark is willing to die for us.
ice cream. Seriously? No, but we all, the point that I'm trying to make is that we all understand that there's nothing material in this world that we would be willing to die for, because we understand that the life itself is more important than anything we could enjoy in this world. Even like, well, some maybe drug addicts may want to die for cocaine, but like not going into extremes, people would die for other people mostly, right? And we understand the value of life itself compared to other things, right? And there's a song by 21 Pilots. It's called Ride. Have you heard it? Oh, I'm going, so he writes in this song, I die for you. That's easy to say. We have a list of people that we would take, a bullet for them, a bullet for you, a bullet for everybody in this room. But I don't seem to see many bullets coming through. Metaphorically, I'm the man, but literally, I don't know what I'd do. Interesting, right? The list of people that we would take a bullet for, right? But there's a harder question, even harder than this one. Who would you live for? Is it easier to die for someone or to live for someone? So 21 Pilot realizes that also, so he continues singing, I'd live for you, and that's hard to do. Even harder to say when you know it's not true. Even harder to write when you know that's a lie. Dying for someone is an act of courage. Living for someone is an act of complete sacrifice of your life, of your interests. Right? So today we're going to talk about this. Who would we die for? Who would we live for? And are we willing to? Previously on Matthew chapter 16, last time we talked about Peter being the hero first and then the villain. So in verse 23, Jesus turned and said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. You're a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns, as we said. Right? So he said to Peter, get behind me, because he is the one who leads the way and who Peter needs to follow, as well as we do. And he continues from that place. Then Jesus said to his disciples, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. So be behind Jesus, follow his footsteps. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me will find it. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? And this is one of the key scriptures we build a chunk of our doctrine and Christian faith around. Following Jesus, denying ourselves. In other place, he even says daily, take up their cross daily and follow me, right? So this scripture is all about denying ourselves. And that's a powerful thought if you think about this. To deny yourself for something. But I got a question. Is that a new principle that Jesus is teaching here? To deny yourself for something? For someone? That's not new. I mean, we deny ourselves for many things, time to time. Right? What do we deny ourselves for?
For watching TV instead of the kids.
Well, it's not denying, it's like indulging, I'd say, your desires.
They occupy the whole
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, for example, let's talk about the education. School. I hated school. So I had to deny myself to go to school every day, study, do the homework, which I could not even deny myself well enough to actually do that. And I think many of you also hated school when you were kids, right? But what does it mean for a kid to actually finish and graduate from school? It means wasting 12 years of your life every day. I mean, wasting in the sense of like denying yourself. You wake up in the morning when you want to sleep. You dress up, you go to the school, you study these boring subjects, you do your homeworks, even those subjects that are not interesting to you. It's good that the kids are not here, right? I scanned the auditorium before I started talking about this. I wouldn't talk if the kids were here, but just, I know, when I was a kid, I was thinking, how much time am I wasting in this bloody school? How much time am I mean, how many games I could play? How many movies I could watch? How much time could I spend with my friends that would skip classes? And I would skip classes very often, right? And for what? For what do we deny ourselves at school? For our future. And that's a good reason to deny ourselves for 12 years, right? That's a good thing, because without school, like, there's a lower chance for you to become successful in the future. And that's why, as parents, we understand that now. As kids, we have a haze understanding of that, so we're denying ourselves, even with the unidentified purpose, maybe somewhere in the, well, yeah, of course we teach them that, yeah, you need to finish school, and then you need to finish university to become successful and, have stability and money and good job in the future, right? So, in our eyes, actually, this sacrifice is justified, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't have tried to convince our kids that it's good. So yeah, success and stability is more important than the wasted time and efforts in school. And everybody understands that, right? Or, another example, for example, you got a lot of money. Maybe you won the lottery, or your rich relative died and left you $1 million, for example, dollars. It's not that much now, but well, it is a lot, right? So what can you do with the money?
Save it for retirement?
Invest.
Yeah, there are two ways to actually spend this money. One way is to buy whatever you want right now. And the second way is to think about your future, invest, think about what this money can bring to you in the future. So not spending it right now, but actually, which way is better?
Well, if you know that you will leave, then the second will
Yeah, that's the point. No one guarantees that you will be alive tomorrow. That's one thing. But, most coaches, not talking about us, right, understanding that life is fragile, most coaches say that the investment is better in the future, because you will just spend all your money right now and then you will have nothing. But you would enjoy the things that you wanted at the moment, but then you would have nothing, right? So to invest, you also need to deny yourself, right? Because you won't get what you want right now, but later, someday, right? And people do that. So Jesus does not actually offer anything new about denying yourself. But he moves the focus from something material to the value of the life itself. And to himself as the source of life that he can give us. So whatever he says here is the same principle, only on the bigger scale. He says that for whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange to their soul, right? So the thing is, whoever wants to save their life, meaning as it is without Jesus, without changes or pursuing your own goals and dreams, the one will actually lose his life, not right now, but in the future, like with the money you're investing. If you spend them now, you will lose them in the future. When they die physically, they will die because they did not reach the source of life. They did not want to attach themselves to Jesus, the source. And without Jesus, the life cannot go on after the death of the body, as we know that, right? And the one who loses their life for Jesus, meaning deny his own interests and desires to live for him and fulfilling his will, the one will find or obtain life in him, in the source of life, that will continue with him after the physical death. So it's as simple as that. It's like people often don't understand the importance of life itself. But okay, we'll talk about this a little bit later. But he says here that our life is much more precious than anything we can fill it with. Do you agree with that? Our life itself is more precious than anything we can get for ourselves. Right? Oh, well, he says here, yeah. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world, he says. The whole world. Can you imagine possessing the world, and yet forfeit their soul? Right? There's no use of the world when your soul is dead. Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? And that's actually a paradox. Like, how much does the life cost? How much money would you accept to sell your life? 5 million? 10 million? 5 trillion? The whole world? Would you accept the whole world in exchange for your soul? Like, what's the point? What's the point? It's like one guy comes to another guy and says, hey, I want to buy your life, so how much is it worth? And he says, like, $5 trillion. He says, okay, there you go, $5 trillion. Now give me your life. And he kills the guy. What's the use of this $5 trillion if he's dead, right? Yeah. So Jesus offers us life itself as the result of our loyalty to him. Not in exchange for the loyalty, I say it purposely, as the result of our loyalty to him. He offers salvation, not wanting anything. Just come and get the salvation, being loyal to the source of life itself. right? Just be with me and do as I say, and you will be saved, he says. It's like this scene I remember from the Terminator. He said this to Sarah Connor when she was in the psychiatric hospital. He was like, come with me if you want to live. And she was like, okay. So she came, right? But what if Sarah thought to herself, no thanks, I want to save myself the way I think is proper. Now I want to eat. I'll go eat. And you go. What would happen to Sarah Connor? Well, T-1000 would probably have killed her. But she needed to listen to him because he could save her, actually. And he did save her. So the most interesting, living for someone or something, as we talked in the beginning, is also not a new principle, right? All people actually live for someone or something. There's no person who doesn't live for something or someone. Sometimes this is something like power or, I don't know, respect or whatever. Sometimes these are people that we're willing to die for, and we're willing to live for them even. Sacrificing yourself for people, for kids, for the loved ones, or whatever. Bryan Adams sang this song, and you know this one also. He said, "You can't tell me it's not worth trying for. Just can't help it, there's nothing I want more. Oh, I would fight for you. Yeah, I'd lie for you. Walk the wire for you. Yeah, I'd die for you." And then he says, "You know it's true, everything I do for you," he says. Everything he does, so he lives for this. But he's not talking about Jesus, obviously, here. He's talking about some chick. But that would be great to say these words to Jesus, right? But still, people are living for someone. It's inevitable. We are living for someone. So Jesus tells us, live for me, and you'll find salvation and happiness and life itself. And life to the full, he says in another place. And life in the future. And all the blessings that I'm going to give you. But it's going to be hard. You need to listen to what I say. As Sarah Connor needed to listen to the Terminator in order to survive, right? We need to listen to what Jesus says. But that means living for Jesus. So, yes, this principle is universal. This principle is universal. So, just put your option in the box, let's say. I live for what? And think about it. I mean, as Christians, we'll probably say, I live for Jesus, right? But let's ask ourselves, but do we actually live for Jesus? Or we actually live for something else, but we really want, we want it to look like we live for Jesus, right? So the thing is, what does it mean for us specifically? What do we deny what do we deny every day following Jesus? Do we deny ourselves in something following Jesus daily? What's our cross that we carry? Because there is a cross, and there is something we need to deny daily, right? So yeah, this is something to think about, actually. And we finish this chapter. In the end, Jesus motivates them, saying, "For the Son of Man is going to come in his Father's glory with his angels, and then he will reward each person according to what they have done." It's funny that they translated reward in NIV, because the meaning of the word is not like the reward, like give something good, but just like judgment, like give everyone everything according to what they have done. Ще въздаде на български. Въздаст. But I think speaking to his disciples, he's trying to actually motivate them, saying that, yeah, you will be rewarded when I come. And maybe some also warning. And he finishes, "Truly I tell you, some who are standing here will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." So yeah, first part is, except life itself, there will be some reward and then some justice according to the deeds. And it's interesting that for people you need some extra motivation, because the life itself doesn't seem enough. Like life, like I'm alive, and what's that? So Jesus also talks not only in this place but in other places also that there will be some reward. There will be something that you'll enjoy, right? And he says here that some people standing there in that crowd will see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. So the coming Son of Man is actually his status. It's not that they will see the coming of the Son of Man, but they will see the coming Son of Man. And he becomes coming, so he wants to come. Right when he resurrected, he said, "I will come soon." So he's about to come. And then some people would see the coming Son of Man, the one who is about to come, in his kingdom, they say. Jesus said. Right? And this is another conversation, because Jesus never told anyone when he will come exactly. He just said, "I am coming, but I even don't know when I'm coming, but I am coming. So just beware," he said. And then Stephen comes to my mind. Do you remember Stephen, how he died?
Yeah. Stones.
But what he saw before he was stoned. But Stephen, full of the Holy Spirit, looked up into heaven and saw the glory of God and Jesus standing at the right hand of God. "Look," he said, "I see the heaven open and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God." That's why we can draw a conclusion that maybe Stephen was in that crowd the time Jesus spoke. But these are speculations. It's not important. What is important is ask ourselves this question. What do I live for? And we can have the communion with these thoughts. Okay, let's pray.